Hello, everyone. My name is Glenn Dietrich. This week, we were tasked with explaining the relevance of Western civilization. We were given several really great perspectives on this topic in our readings this week that have helped me develop my own thinking and understanding of Western civilization. With readings from Robert Royle, Bradley Birzer, Kwame Apape, and Daniel Hannan, I recognize that Western civilization remains a relevant topic even in a globalized and rapidly changing world. First, Western civilization isn't just about Europe or ethnicity. It's a tradition of ideas. As Bradley Birzer and Robert Royle explained, it draws from classical antiquity and Judeo-Christian thought, and it's shaped by the values of philosophical inquiry, the rule of law, and human dignity. These aren't frozen in time. They've helped form the foundation of liberal democracies around the world. Daniel Hannan highlights how the common law tradition developed over centuries in English-speaking countries helped establish systems of liberty, representative government, and property rights. These ideas spread to places like the US, Canada, India, and beyond. Far from being outdated, they still support the legal protections and democratic freedoms many of us depend on today. Critics often do point out West's history of colonialism, which is certainly a topic that does form a stiff criticism of this concept of Western civilization, and is it ethnocentric, or what does Western civilization really offer? And what it really does offer is the ideas that it brought to light in liberty, freedom, and democracy. But Birzer and Hannan remind us that with also the first tradition to argue for the universal dignity of every human being. From abolition to civil rights, the West has shown, despite some of its faults that we have seen throughout the past several centuries and even still today in terms of human rights, that this idea of liberty and freedom that has been introduced and developed with Western civilization can still be applied through its own right, and applying these ideas over time and continue to develop. Philosopher Kwame Anthony Apaye questions whether a singular West ever truly existed. And I really like this article because it really offered this new perspective of, is it the West? Are we really thinking of this civilization as coming directly from a specific region or area? And it really kind of bowed the question of, does it matter where these ideas came from or where the civilization came from? And so from these readings, it really kind of brought to the point of that it's been a combination and development of a lot of different cultures and peoples that have created these ideas that we have now come to deem as Western civilization, being these ideas of liberal freedom and democracy. And that's really at the core of what Western civilization is. And you really can argue if it should be given credit to a certain ethnicity, culture, language, specifically what Daniel Hannan does argue in his work. I'm not sure if I'm there yet to argue that it should derive from a specific culture or language speaking people, but the concept of what Western civilization really does provide are these ideas of liberalism and democracy and freedom, and that has become something that has been accepted by civilization throughout the world as of now and continues to develop and strengthen. And that's really at the core of what Western civilization in my mind means, and that's something that can continually be recognized, especially as our world becomes more globalized and we aren't just specific cultures that are restricted to our own language or our own people. We are continually becoming developed and more close and intertwined, and these ideas of freedom and democracy and human rights should still continue, even though there are challenges throughout history, just as there were challenges in the past. And that's why Western civilization remains to be still relevant and significant today, that these ideas of liberalism and democracy, just because they were introduced and developed hundreds of years ago, doesn't mean that we have accepted them and that they just will continue to survive. We must continue to recognize them, understand how we obtain them, but also recognize that the cultures and governments and states that have introduced and started to develop these ideas have failed in the past for certain reasons, and that we must recognize them and recognize that while these ideas of freedom and human rights are paramount to what we hope to strive for, that they can be denied if they aren't continued to be protected and recognized. So I hope I'm looking forward to hearing and seeing the rest of your discussion posts, and I'm really looking forward to this course with all of you this semester. So have a great week, and I will looking forward to engaging with all of you soon.